How's it going, everybody? Thanks for checking out my channel and clicking on this video. Today is a beautiful Tuesday morning, and I've finally hit over 10,000 miles on my Sportster S. So I figured I'd just tell you my pros and cons, what I like about it, what I don't like about it, and my experience with the bike, go over the specs, and overall just what I think about this bike. Now, before I tell you guys my experience over the last 10,000 miles, I figured I'd just tell you guys everything about this bike so you know exactly what you're looking at. So, the Sportster S comes with the 1250 Revolution Max motor. It's kind of the same motor that they put in the Pan America, but the heads are different. It's tuned differently. And this bike makes, from the factory, 121 horsepower and 93 pound-feet of torque. And this bike also only weighs 501 pounds. That is pretty light for a Harley. And then once you put on an aftermarket exhaust, like I did with the Two Brothers Racing exhaust, and this system specifically sheds 15 pounds of weight from the bike. So this bike weighs in at 487 pounds and probably makes close to 130 horsepower and almost 100 pound-feet of torque. Now, it hasn't been tuned or anything. I didn't put a filter on it, but it still runs great. No check engine light. It's not running lean or anything. So we're sitting pretty good right now. Now let's start with the braking system on this. So the front comes with a factory Brembo brake caliper and a drilled rotor. But for some reason, they only put it on one side. It would have been great if it had dual disc rotors or brakes in the front. And the back are also just your standard Brembo. Nothing too fancy, but it does the job. Really would benefit from dual discs. For the wheel or the tires, it comes with a really wide 160 front tire, which is pretty wide for a front tire on a motorcycle, and a 180 rear tire to help put all that power down. Although I still have spun on several occasions. It's not too hard to do when you're making power like this. Also, forgot to mention, the red line for this bike is 9,000 RPM. And your peak torque range is going to be from like 3,000 to 6,000 RPM. But it will still pull pretty hard after 6,000 all the way to 9. I love that about this bike. Another thing is the digital display. I absolutely love that about this bike. So we'll get it turned on here. It's loading up. So once you use the hand controls here, you can get your GPS on through the Harley Davidson app. Oops. You can get music through Bluetooth to your helmet. You can get bike diagnostics. You can go to your settings. You can change things like date and time, change your PIN. You can change your ride modes. So you got, just road and then sport, rain, and then you get 2 custom modes that you can change. You adjust those. You can change screen brightness, and then you got your Bluetooth settings. And then, phone notifications, and then, your software updates and stuff like that. So yeah, and then this is really helpful. If you use this button, just hit these buttons, you can change your trip and then your range that's left on your tank, what the temp is outside, and your odometer. You got a fuel gauge down there. It'll tell you got an oil pressure light in case that comes on. And then also this bike, you can get heated grips. There's a little button here to activate it, but you have to buy it separately and install it. But you can get heated grips for this. So if you're more than a fair weather rider like me and like to ride in all kinds of weather except for snow and ice, That is very helpful. Why don't we talk about the appearance of this bike? So to me, this bike is very aggressive looking. The wide front, or both wide tires on it, the pill-shaped headlight, and these turn signals, which I know some people hate and they get rid of them pretty quick. But I love the style of it. And then just the way this bike looks, it's angled just right, looks very muscular and aggressive, a lot like a Rocket, but more muscly, you know, I guess. It's just a very good looking bike. You know, in my opinion, as soon as you buy one of these, you have to take off that there's an arm. Basically, it's the license plate bracket and the taillight bracket. It comes out behind the tire there. It's just very gaudy and really doesn't fit, in my opinion. So do like I did, and you can get this taillight and the license plate bracket there, and it looks a lot better. Cleans it up really nice. That's a Kimimoto taillight assembly. I can put a link for you guys. Otherwise, there's another one by Kimimoto that has the same taillight, but the bracket just extends back here above the tire. So yeah, as far as appearance, pretty good. As long as you get rid of that taillight bracket and change the exhaust, because I don't like the factory exhaust, because one, it's too quiet, and two, it's just too big, and I don't know, not my taste. So I changed that out, and I also installed a little cowl above the headlight here. I do want to paint the bike, so that's all going to change. And then also, it's a good idea to install a radiator guard, because it doesn't come with one. So I installed this one. It says 1250S on it. Wasn't too hard to install. Took about a half hour. It's just the bolts that hold on, they go in back here, are kind of a pain to get to. But yeah, you want to protect that radiator from rocks or anything else that comes down the road. But otherwise, freaking awesome looking bike. So just go over the things that I kind of don't like about this bike. One is this seat. I think a lot of people agree with me that this seat could be better. It's definitely softened up, you know, since I got it, because I put 10,000 miles on it. So it's a lot softer, and I can ride this bike for 2 hours without stopping with a completely full gas tank, but that definitely could be upgraded. Luckily, there are options out there. You can put a passenger kit on the back. I don't know why I've seen people say that, you know, you can't have a passenger on this bike. From the factory, no, you can't, because it doesn't come with the passenger kit, but you can easily buy one, put it on, and they can ride with for a while. My girlfriend does, and we've gone over an hour and without stopping. So another complaint I have is the gas tank size. From the factory, it says 3.1 gallons, but I've pretty much emptied the tank, at least according to the range on the display, and I've only been able to get 2.3 gallons in there. So I'm not sure where the other 0.8 gallons are supposed to be. So, but cruising at 65, being in road mode, being nice on the throttle, I've gotten over 140 miles on a tank. So not bad at all for a bike at this power level and this size. So yeah, so overall, I absolutely love this bike. I don't plan to sell it. Maybe just do some more upgrades, like paint it, maybe have custom wheels done. But overall, I don't ever plan to get rid of this bike. It seems like everywhere I go, people are like complimenting me on the bike, or asking me what it is, because it's a very unique looking bike, and they're kind of surprised when I tell them it's a Harley. But yeah, throw everything you've ever known about Sportsters away, because this bike is completely different. It's way lighter, makes way more power than any of the old Sportsters. Oh, one thing is, these are a lot lighter thanks to the engine being part of the frame. So that helps a lot. I've actually raced a couple bikes with this. One of them was a V-Rod Night Rod Special that had exhaust, filter, and it was tuned. And honestly, he couldn't catch me up until like 5th gear. And it wasn't until the big end when he started to pull away from me. But this is just exhaust. That's all that's done to it, performance-wise. The other one was a V-Rod Muscle, and he had exhaust and a filter. And I put like 3 bike links on him. There was actually a third bike that I raced. It was a 2013 Road King. It was bored and stroked and cams and heads, the whole 9. And it dynoed at 150 wheel horsepower and 150 wheel torque. And me and him were neck and neck the whole race. So, you know, bone stock, these are pretty impressive. Can't say it's like any of the other Sportsters. So yeah, overall, this is an amazing bike. Absolutely love it. Haven't had any issues. There's only been a couple weird things where the display will randomly shut off while I'm riding and it'll come back on like nothing happened. But otherwise, haven't had any issues. This is a 2023 model, so they fixed some of the quirks that came out in the first couple year models, which is pretty typical of first model of anything. But yeah, I want to see what more this bike has to offer. See if I can get it lined up against a 600cc rocket or something. See how it does. But thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you in the next one.